And who?
Learn how to transform your home into a toxin-free sanctuary with Diane Saunderson, the expert in uncovering hidden dangers. Welcome back to the Happiness on Tap podcast. I am very excited about my guest today. Diane has educated numerous people at various Finding Resilience with Leanne events, sharing her knowledge about the amazing benefits of essential oils. So I'm very excited to talk to her. Diane, known as the Healthy Home Advocate, is a trusted voice in the realm of wellness and environmental consciousness. With a personal journey rooted in her family's well-being, she passionately uncovers the hidden toxins lurking in everyday household products. Driven by a deep desire for natural solutions, Diane discovered the transformative power of high-quality essential oils and plant-based materials. She saw their remarkable impact on alleviating discomfort and improving overall health. Through extensive research, she gained vital insight about chemicals in personal care products, cleaning agents, and their effects on the body. She dedicated herself to raising awareness about detrimental chemicals listed on products and those concealed behind trade secrets. Diane shares her knowledge through educational publications and speaking. She inspires individuals to make conscious choices to create a safer, healthier environment. In a world where chemicals are hidden and continue to rapidly grow in numbers, her mission is to inspire people to make informed choices for a healthier, toxic-free lifestyle for themselves, their pets, and the planet. So thank you for joining us for the Healthy Home Revolution, uncovering toxins and embracing natural solutions. Hello, Diane. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks, Leanne. Happy to be here. Happy to have being able to share some insights on toxins.
I'm looking forward to it. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so I became the Healthy Home Advocate based on my personal experience. And believe it or not, it started way back when I was just a baby. It's interesting. My father told me that when they washed the diapers, and back then there were only cloth diapers, that they had to use the ivory soap, which came in a box and was in flake form because it was so gentle. And the tagline, interesting for ivory soap, is that it's known for its gentleness and 99.44% pure. So starting way back then, I had some skin sensitives that have followed me in and out of my life. Then as a teen, I started having eczema on my hands with the red patches, and they were itchy and they hurt all at the same time. And there really wasn't much to do for them. But then later in my working career, I started having irritations on my eyelids. So I said, well, I need to go to a dermatologist and see what's going on because this is not fun. And so while I was there, he says, well, where do you work? I said, well, I work in an office. He said, are you around any chemicals? I said, oh, no, chemicals are just in the laboratory. And he said, oh, no, chemicals are not just in the laboratory. They're all around us. So this started me becoming more aware that we might have to watch what we come in contact to because we could be very sensitive to various things that we wouldn't otherwise think about.
Yeah, absolutely. I have also over the years struggled with different kinds of skin sensitivities, um, and found out the one that shocked me the most was I had like chronic hives for like 3 months, went through the whole gamut of testing, allergy testing, changing my diet, to finally have the doctor say, we don't know what's causing the hives. And I figured it out for myself that it was stress. Like I was
Yeah.
in such a heightened stress level that my body was reacting, but that was never even something the doctor considered.
Right.
So I'm really looking forward to learning more from you about all of the things around us.
Perfect.
So why should we be concerned about chemicals or toxins in our products? Surely there are government regulations to about chemical safety, right?
Well, one might think so, but that would not be the case. With regard to safety, most people don't know that in the US, the safety of any chemical does not have to be proven to be safe, and it can be used as an ingredient in any household product. And then you have the trade secret laws. Well, protect the companies with their proprietary ingredients. Well, that can cover a whole host of chemicals underneath that. And so you have no idea what's under that. So it's kind of like the fox guarding the hen house. And then you have the manufacturer's position. Well, they argue, well, just a small amount of toxic ingredients aren't likely to cause a problem. Well, if you're routinely exposed to them, to know what kind of risk you're going to be having. So it's my internet is
Yes, a little
unstable.
choppy.
Yes, let me see what I can do about
Let
that.
me pause us real quick while you
Here.
figure that out.
So the other thing is to consider is the exposure, whether it's a one-time thing or you have repeated exposures. There are a few products that can cause immediate reactions, such as headache or from fumes or skin burns or that type of thing. Or sometimes the problem arises because of the repeated contact. So with consistent exposure to various chemicals, that can put a burden on the body. It's known as a toxic burden because the number of chemicals that are stored in the tissues at any given time. Interestingly, there's a chemical abstract service. It's a premier registry where they list all the various chemical compounds. And according to this registry, there are over 144 million chemicals currently registered. And they're increasing at 12,000 new substances every day, which means that in a year's time, you're going to have an approximately 4.5 million additional chemicals around us. So it's amazing. We're kind of like in a chemical pool. So not good.
And we certainly don't realize it. And two, and this comes up like in my other health and wellness episodes, and just in my own research, is that a lot of these products were never tested on women,
Oh
because
no.
we're too sensitive, because we have hormone issues, because we can be pregnant, so a lot of these products were only tested on men. And so we're treated like we're the same as men. And the things that we put on our body aren't meant for us.
Right.
So the more we know, the better we are. So I'm really looking forward to more information from you.
Perfect.
What do you consider to be the one or two top common toxins that people may not be aware of in their everyday household products?
Right. I just wanted to let the listeners know that I do have a book that they can get for free at Free Gift from D, and it will be in the show notes that will cover these toxins that I'm about to go over, so they don't have to worry about writing everything down as we go. But in answer to your question, the number one toxin to look out for is fragrance. And that's because it's not just one simple thing. There can be multiple toxins hidden because, again, they could be considered trade secrets. And so it's been said that air sprays that are used to mask unpleasant odors can have up to 600 chemicals in them. So fragrance may sound like, oh, no big deal. But on the other hand, it can be. And they're found in so many things. Their fragrances are in your fabric softeners, your dryer sheets, your air sprays or fresheners, your laundry detergent, your all-purpose cleaners. And now they're even impregnating the garbage bags with fragrance. Can you believe that? I mean, this is nuts. So, and the thing is that the fragrances, because they have so many chemicals that we don't know what's in there, This can lead to respiratory issues, skin irritations, allergies. It can also disrupt the hormone function and cause reproductive problems. So the list goes on. And then if you think, well, I'm going to minimize my risk on fragrances, I'm going to get the fragrance-free or the unscented version of a given product. Well, that will probably have fewer chemicals in it, but they can still have a small amount of a fragrance, if you will, to mask other smells. They can be generally safer, but still can have some chemicals in there. So I know we all like to have things that smell good. Well, let's do it naturally. And this is where essential oils can come in. They can provide a pleasant scent to your home without harmful chemicals, both in the air and in your laundry if you choose. However, we need to be cautious because even with essential oils, not all brands are the same, and you get what you pay for. So caution is recommended because you can remove one toxin and possibly replace it with something else that could be toxic. So I'm going to go into more details on what to look for about essential oils a little bit later, but that just is one way to substitute in a more healthy way. The second toxin to consider is phthalates, and that's because they're used to enhance the fragrances, but they can also act as a solvent. And again, these phthalates are common in cleaning items such as air fresheners, dish soap, and all-purpose cleaners. And exposure to them has been associated with problems in development, reproductive functions, breathing, and again, disrupting hormones, which can lead to various health issues. But they've also been linked to a higher risk of obesity, diabetes, and certain types of cancers. So for children and pregnant women, phthalates can be especially harmful because it can affect the baby's growth and cause long-term health concerns. So one of the things you might want to consider using as a natural cleaning alternative are simple things like vinegar and baking soda, and then adding a quality essential oil to them, which helps them work effectively without the harmful toxins. So that's what are some things that you might want to do.
And those are all great recommendations. And yeah, they're simple things that we don't think about. And one of them that I've recently, we're kind of trying to make the changeover in our home. And I've known this for a long time and never like started making the change, is getting away from drinking out of so much plastic. Mm-hmm. Because we live in a very on the go, quick, easy access. You know, I can run into a gas station and grab a bottle of tea, or, you know, drive through fast food, again, plastic cups. We have kind of a bad habit of refilling plastic bottles for that same reason, for on the go. If I got to run out of the house, at least I'm taking water. But I am, you know, more aware now of the amount of plastic that I am ingesting along with my water from doing that. So we are trying to move away from so much plastic drinking in our home. Right. So little things. So I'm glad you're here to share some of those things with us so that we can share that with others.
Perfect.
So what about other toxins that we should be alerted to?
Well, there are three others that I want to go through rather quickly to look out for. They're triclosans, formaldehyde, and petrochemical distillants. And again, these will be in the free book. The triclosan is a powerful antibacterial and antifungal agent that is commonly found in soap, dishwashing liquids, and other household cleaners. However, again, it can disrupt hormone function, contribute to an antibacterial resistance, and of course, if we overuse antibacterial products, this can lead to an antibiotic resistant bacteria. With regard to formaldehyde, I always think back to science class when we had to dissect a frog, formaldehyde, oops. But it's used to kill bacteria and viruses and also to cover up bad smells. It's commonly found in disinfectants and air fresheners. And exposure to it can lead to various health problems, again, breathing difficulties, skin irritation, and even cancer. Now, petroleum distillates, they're used to dissolve grease and dirt, commonly found in degreasers, carpet cleaners, and furniture polish. And again, exposure can lead to respiratory issues, skin irritation, and eye damage. So there's kind of a trend with these three. The last two, most everyone has heard of and probably used at one time or another, ammonia and chlorine bleach. Now, ammonia is a common cleaning ingredient found in glass cleaners, oven cleaners, and bathroom cleaners. And again, it's very effective in removing tough grease and grime and leaving the surfaces shiny and clean. However, it can be extremely hazardous if you're breathing it at high levels, and it can cause respiratory issues, eye irritation, and burns on the skin. So again, if you have pets, it can also be a risk to them if they actually accidentally ingest or breathe in the fumes. So if you're going to use that product, be sure that you do use it in a well ventilated area and carefully follow the instructions by the manufacturer. And then chlorine bleach, again, we're familiar with that. It's used a lot in laundry detergents, all-purpose cleaners, and disinfectants. One of the things that comes readily to mind is for whitening clothes, eliminating stains, and again, it can kill bacteria and viruses. But if it's used improperly, it can be extremely hazardous too. Again, the fumes from it can lead to breathing difficulties. You can have skin irritation or eye damage. Again, like ammonia, it needs to be used in a well-ventilated area if you're using it. Wear protective clothing and eyewear and follow the manufacturer's instructions. Now, we're familiar with both of these products, and I think most everyone knows there's a warning. You don't take bleach and you don't take ammonia and you don't mix them together because the fumes can be deadly if inhaled. However, did you know that mixing bleach with vinegar can give you the same result? So that's another thing to be cautious about. Now, with wanting to whiten things, there is a good alternative for that instead of chlorine bleach, and that's hydrogen peroxide and some lemon juice can help whiten the clothes and remove stains effectively. And if you're in an area where the sun shines and you have access to hang clothes out, the sun will bleach the clothes too.
That is my favorite.
That's a natural bleach, and I learned that years ago when I hung out a colored bed sheet, and I brought it in and compared it with the sheet that I didn't hang out, and it was much lighter in shade. So yeah, sun can bleach. So again, both of these are concerns with the mixing of the products. Now there are two other things that I wanted to mention about that. Because chlorine bleach and ammonia can come in various cleaning products, you want to be cautious, and I doubt that people would do this, but you don't want to take a product that has chlorine bleach and one that has ammonia in it in a cleaning product and mix the two together, because you could still get that same negative reaction of, very severe respiratory issues, potentially death, of course. So be alert. Even though we think of bleach in a bottle and ammonia in a bottle, they are also in individual cleaning products. Don't mix the two cleaning products together that have one of each of them. And then there's one other thing that was kind of interesting when I was looking up about bleach, and that was it's often used in a toilet bowl cleaner. And that's all fine and well. However, if you've cleaned the toilet with a product that has bleach in it, be sure to flush it before using it, because here again, interestingly enough, if you did not flush the toilet and you'd use the bleach product in it, and then you went to urinate in it, that's an ammonia effect. So you could be sitting on a bad situation, let's put it that way. So be sure to flush the toilet before using it if you're using a cleaning product containing bleach. So just a quick recap of the three types of health issues that seem to be commonly repeated in these are respiratory issues and skin issues, eye irritation and damage. So we want to minimize toxins that are that potentially harmful to us. And again, they could be very harmful to pets and especially small children.
And thank you for sharing those. Yeah, I think we know not to mix those two, but it can definitely happen. If you weren't paying attention in science class, that may be a problem. Um, but they're dangerous. They are highly dangerous. So thank you for sharing your concerns, your suggestions, and your warnings.
Sure.
And there's one, just because I'm looking at, I need to go shopping this weekend, and I finally have hit the bottom of the box of dryer sheets, and I want to convert from dryer sheets to the wool balls that you can throw in the dryer to help with
Fireballs.
that. Is that something you recommend, suggest? Do you have another suggestion that you would like to offer to me?
Um, are you, are the dryer sheets, are you using them for partially for the fragrance?
No, more for static.
More for static, okay.
Mhm.
Yes, the dryer balls work well. And if you were wanting to have fragrance transmitted into your clothes, again, you could use essential oils on a damp cloth, throw it in with your wash in the dryer, and that will transmit the fragrance. But yes, dryer balls are a very good alternative.
Oh, thank you. I feel better now. Like I said, I'm trying to start making some changes as I learn and grow, and want us to have healthier choices. So, are there other solutions today that you can help that you suggest?
Right. Well, we've already covered one with your concern with the dryer. So that's great. That leads right in. As I mentioned previously about the vinegar instead of the fabric softener. The other thing that I found is that the white vinegar is much more cost effective than any of the fabric softeners. And who hasn't walked outside down the road saying, oh, someone's doing laundry. I can smell their fabric
Your dryer.
softener. I
Hmm.
mean, that is just very pungent on fragrance. Um, and then if you wanted to use the fragrance in your laundry in the washing machine, again, you could add some essential oils to the vinegar, or you could use an organic, and again, we're talking high quality oils. And if you didn't want to do that, you could use the peels from organic citrus fruit, such as oranges or lemons, put that in the vinegar, but it's going to have to sit 2 to 4 weeks for the fragrance to transmit. With regard to trash cans, drives me nuts that they want to scent the garbage bags. But you can put some essential oils on a cotton ball, just put it down in the trash can, and that works really good. So those are a few of the interesting things that you can do. And if you needed like a little bit of a scrubbing, baking soda works very well as a replacement. Again, you can add essential oils to it also to enhance it.
Yeah, there's a lot of wonderful uses for baking soda that I wasn't aware of. And so, yeah, I love learning, and I enjoy this part of what I'm doing, and having podcasts with people who are more informed than I am, that are willing to share that information with me and with others. So thank you. I appreciate it. What inspired you to explore the use of essential oils and plant-based materials as a natural solution?
Well, that goes back to my mom. And because through this process, you never know who you're going to meet along the way that's going to take you to your final destination because there is no straight line. When my mom was in her mid to late 80s, she was a very small person. In fact, she'd shrunk below 5 foot because I could almost put my chin on her head. But she'd had a surgery for a hip replacement. And about 6 months later, she started having spontaneous fractures in her back, which means she'd go to bed sleeping well, wake up in the morning, and she's had a fracture in her back. Well, the pain in that's excruciating. And there's not anything that one can do except mitigate the pain. So she got some pain medication. But as we know, anytime you take any type of oral medication, it's going to take 30 to 45 minutes at least before it gets kicked in and starts doing what it was designed to do. So this started me on a search to find out what can I do to help mom with her physical issues, shave the peak off of that pain while the medication is kicking in. Well, it was interesting because I attended a special interest class one evening, and afterwards I was going to ask the instructor a question about the class But I overheard her talking to the attendee in front of me, and for whatever reason that came up in the subject, they started talking about essential oils and what that might be helpful for this attendee. And so I was listening into it, and she said, well, you need to see this particular person, and this is how you can find her, and so on. So I thought, well, gee, maybe that might be something that I should check into. So I got the same information and made a connection there. And what I learned was, yes, there was an oil blend that would work for my mom that could help shave that pain, discomfort down while the medication was kicking in. And that happened within just a matter of a few minutes. So I was thrilled with this. And of course, mom was too. So that's what got me started. Now, remember, I must point out is that this was back in the late 1990s when essential oils were just coming onto the scene. Most people weren't aware of them and how they can help one's well-being. So it was through this and the company learning how they had used essential oils not only directly for various things, but also how they'd enhanced various products with the essential oils and were very keyed into using natural products, nothing that would be harmful to the body and that sort of thing. So that's how I initially got started with essential oils.
Oh, that's fascinating. I don't think we've ever had that conversation. So thank you for sharing that.
Sure.
Can you share some examples other than your mother, which is a great story? Thank you for sharing that. Of how essential oils and green cleaning products have made a positive impact on people's health.
Of course, yes. And let me clarify that when I'm speaking about essential oils, I'm referring to premium essential oils, which means that the company has some essential oils that they can identify that are safe to be taken internally, like peppermint and lemon. And these are the qualities you will not generally find, I'd say 99% of the time, in any local store. So I want to make that distinction on that. But yes, when I was working, because this was also the time that I was working, when I first started out, like many others, I was kind of like a doubting Thomas about the essential oils. Again, they were brand new on the scene type of thing. I thought, well, they work this time, well, they work next time. And every time the answer was positive. And so one day I had an opportunity to share with one of my coworkers. Her husband was a firefighter, and as you know, the firefighters are on 24 to 48-hour shifts, so they're away from home. While she was working, she got a call from him in the morning, and in their conversation, he made reference that he'd had some type of injury, but really didn't go into it. And so when they ended the call, she got really upset because, of course, your mind goes to, oh my, how bad was he injured? Because he didn't want to tell me, and so on and so forth. And so she got quite upset. And so I went to her and I said, hey, Greta, would you like to try an oil, maybe help calm things down for you? And she said, sure. So I shared an oil with her. Worked marvelously. In fact, it worked so well that later in the day, she had to drink some caffeine to kind of boost her energy back up so that she could finish working for the day and everything. So she's one of my favorite stories on a personal level. But then there's also testimonies about people in the cleaning business that have to use commercial cleaning products. And this one person, she knew that the products were not good for her, that they were negatively affecting her. And she wanted a natural cleaning product that would work. But when she'd experimented with other green products, they didn't work as well. So she ended up going back to the commercial products. Well, she was introduced to one of the cleaning products from my company. And so she was reluctant, but she tried it and she was thrilled. She tried the product. The results were fantastic. And so she was able to switch away from the chemical commercial cleaners and use this natural cleaner. So that was having a positive effect on her because she knew that the commercial chemicals were not good for her. And now she found a natural product that she could use and get the same positive results in her cleaning without the negative results. And so that's one of the ones that's really great. So it's always better to go greener sooner versus later because you don't know how the toxic environment that we spent a lot of good portion of our day in is going to affect us. So we want to be sure to have a safe haven for both our family and our pets.
Absolutely. And environmental factors are something that I think we don't think as much about because we can't see it, we can't touch it. You know, sometimes we can smell it, but I think that the focus isn't there that it should be.
Mhm.
So that we are aware of all of our environmental factors, or as many as we can, you know, try to mitigate and lessen, for our
Exactly.
mental health, our physical health, our, you know, as you said, our pets and our children. Um, and I know that there are, like you said, kind of the cheap, not premium essential oils that you really have to be careful of with pets and small children.
Mhm.
So always good to know. So, what are some practical steps that individuals can take to create a healthier home environment?
Well, the number one thing is read the labels. You have to become your own household detective, and sometimes it requires getting your magnifying glass out because the print is so tiny. And if you don't have a magnifying glass, there's a magnifying app you can put on your smartphone to magnify things. So that way you can actually see the print and read it. So you want to look at everything that you use in your home, pull it out, look at the labels, read them, and see, of course, look for the word fragrance. That's one of the first keys on the product that you're going to look for, that are going to send up little red flags. Another thing to look for is, does it reference poison control? If so, that's a potential for a problem. And then, of course, some of them will shout hazardous, corrosive, danger, irritant, inflammable. Those definitely are going to contain some toxic ingredients. So if you think the claims are being those claims are being made, then it's potential that's going to be harmful for you and the environment. Another thing to be careful of is deceptive labeling. That's called greenwashing. This is where manufacturers will mislead you in their marketing material about their products, attempting them to make you think that they are greener and healthier. It's a way to raise their prices. And so the words green and natural are done for marketing reasons. They can charge more. And however, you need to look at the label because it can contain the same amount of chemicals, or maybe a bit fewer, but still contain chemicals that you don't want to be exposed to. So all natural and green don't necessarily mean they're non-toxic. We've talked about fragrance being a hidden um, cover for many potential chemicals. Um, but again, if you want a fragrance, the better thing to do is use an essential oil that's of premium quality. As I mentioned, not all essential oils brands are the same, and you get what you pay for. And so if you're getting a good deal, you're probably getting one that's may have some toxins, removing one and replacing it with another. So a few things to know about essential oils are that the word pure on a bottle of essential oil means it's only required to have 5% essential oil in it. Which, if that's the case, then you got 95% that you're not really sure what it is. Could it be a synthetic? Could it be a adulterant? Could it be something that dilutes it? Because there are no regulations on essential oils. And even if the bottle says it's 100% pure essential oils, you still need to know about how the oil was processed. Was it raised with pesticide-free plants? How was it distilled? Were chemicals used in the distillation process? Those types of things. But one of the key identifiers is whether the company that makes the markets essential oils, do they have some that can be safely used internally? So there's many things to consider, and I've just hit some of the high points for people to look for.
And those are all great things for us to be aware of. Um, and that goes too as far as the food we're ingesting as well. You know, take
Mm-hmm.
the time, read the label. I think, you know, that was one thing I learned on my personal nutrition journey, as well as um, to obtain my education for personal training and now as a health and life coach. If you pick up a can of something you normally enjoy eating, whether it's a soup or even canned vegetables over fresh vegetables, if you actually read that label, odds are you're going to set it back down and go for the fresh alternative, because the amount of sodium or other preservatives that are in the foods to make them, live on a shelf for a much longer period of time are so bad for us. So if you can learn things like shopping on the exterior of the grocery store, and limiting the amount of foods that you purchase from the aisles that are processed, or just really learn to pay attention. You can find things that are, if they're labeled lower sodium, and you can compare the two and see the dramatic differences.
Right.
So thank you for pointing out those things as far as other things that we put on our body and in our body, chemical lotions, shampoos, all those things that we just do. It's just kind of a habit. It's, we here in our little desert, New Mexico, we tend to put a lot more lotions on our skin because our air is so dry. So thank you again for sharing that information so people can be more aware of what they're putting in and on their body.
Right, exactly.
How else can we raise awareness about the importance of environmental consciousness and the impact of household products on our health?
Well, that's one of the reasons I'm here today, is to help raise awareness, because it is challenging. Chemicals are everywhere, and unless we have a noticeable reaction, it may not be in the forefront of our minds. And so for those of us that have sensitivities to artificial fragrances or odors and or skin sensitivities, known or unknown, then you become aware of more likely of what you're coming in contact with, what's important to you. So it's important to talk about it, read about it, start looking at everything, as you mentioned, in our house, not only the cleaning products, but the food, the clothes, everything. And you don't have to wait until you get sick to find out that you have an issue. It's better to look out ahead of time and see what you can do to minimize your exposure to these chemicals so that you can have a safer place to live.
And that is so important too. And I try to talk to people about being your own authority for your health. If you do go to a doctor because of a recent skin irritation, that's one of the first things they're going to ask you is like, what have you changed? Are you using a new lotion? Are you using a new body soap? Are you, so if you, start to notice something, question those things. Be your own authority for your health. Take that information with you when you, speak to a doctor, because it helps bring focus to why you're there. And so, like I said, when I was going through chronic hives, I went through a gamut of testing. I did the whole allergy testing just for them to tell me I was allergic to milk. I'm not allergic to milk in any way, shape, or form. So I don't know where that came from, but that's what showed up, in the allergy testing. And then I was referred to a rheumatologist.
Wow.
And I got to the rheumatologist and she reviewed my records and she's like, why are you here? Like the markers on your blood work are the polar extreme for somebody that would be seen by a rheumatologist. And she was kind enough to stop that appointment and not charge me for it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And advise me to, look at other alternatives and consider other things, because not only had I wasted my time, but I wasted her time that she could have been spending with other patients that needed to be there for that reason. So yeah, be your own authority in as much as you can. Be educated, be knowledgeable. And if you don't know where to look, the world of Google and YouTube, and being able to just search, take that opportunity, take that time and learn and ask questions. And then the beauty of it is then there are people like you that come on podcasts or, are at other functions that are willing to spend time educating people.
Mm-hmm.
So what kind of advice do you have for somebody who's just starting in their journey towards a healthier home and embracing natural solutions?
Well, as we mentioned, awareness is the first step. Read the label on everything that we've talked about. Look for long words that you don't recognize and probably can't pronounce. They might likely be a toxin. As you mentioned, Google is a great resource for that. And then as you're starting to start swapping things out or ditch and switch. And you can start slowly. Use up what you have if you don't want to, waste any money or product. But then instead of replacing it with the same product that may have toxins in it, replace it with something healthier. And there are 4 areas that we're frequently in contact and are the easiest place to start: hand soap, laundry soap, multi-purpose cleaner, and scrubbing powder. These 4 are things that we have use either daily or routinely. And so this is a great and easy way to get started.
Thank you for those suggestions. Those are all very valuable, and a great place for people to start making those simple changes. If any of our listeners wanted to kind of start DIY projects, what are some easy ones that they can start with?
Well, that's a great question. And there are some easy DIY projects, and some of them we've previously mentioned with regard to replacing your fabric softener with vinegar. And if you want a fragrance, using an essential oil. We've mentioned that several times. We've also talked about putting an essential oil on a damp cloth in your dryer if you want something there. And we've also mentioned that for a basic scrub, you can use baking soda and an essential oil like lemon oil. That'll help enhance it, boost it, and also give you a nice fragrance. But then you can also, for your hands, you can make your own foaming soap with an essential oil fragrance. And my company has many of them, from evergreens to citrus to florals, any fragrance that you desire. And you use that with some unscented castile soap, proper dispenser, and some water, and there you go. You can also make a simple bathroom spray with just essential oils and distilled water in a little spray bottle. So freshen the air that way. So there are numerous ways that you can use the essential oils, and there are all kinds of recipes that you can find out there. But sometimes people might consider the DIY projects either too difficult, time consuming, or just not your thing. So there are ready-to-use cleaning products which incorporate essential oils, including a multi-purpose concentrated product that can be adjusted in strength to replace a myriad of a wide variety of specialized cleaners. So with my company, you can get the premium essential oils. They're highly concentrated, so that means a little bit goes a long way, and you can use them on a multitude of DIY projects with just one bottle. You can also trust the purity of my company's products because all the ingredients are safe and listed on the container. They're non-toxic. And now that you're more aware of toxins, you can support your health and wellness with the non-toxic cleaning products. So with this type of awareness, it is possible to reduce the toxic exposure in our homes by making changes to safer cleaning options. And the fragrance of a natural essential oil is so nice that it can make the sometimes burdensome, unwanted cleaning task a little bit more enjoyable or a bit more fun. So again, for the audience, remember you can get my free book, A Quick Guide to 7 Common Toxins in Cleaning Products, at freegiftfromd.com. And if you want to contact me directly, my information is at the bottom of that page where it says contact me.
Wonderful. And I will also include that in the show notes for everyone. And thank you for sharing that free gift. That is so valuable. I think it'll be a great place to give people the starting knowledge that they need along with this episode to transition away from chemicals to safe products. And I learned one that was new to me fairly recently. We kind of had a weird, I want to say infestation, but we had flying ants that had hatched inside our walls, like behind wood paneling. and they would only come out at night.
Mhm.
But we would have to watch because they wouldn't be there. And then all of a sudden we'd see one flying, and then we'd see hordes of them. And they would only come out for a few minutes. They were attracted to the light. So they would pick up the light off the TV, or if we had turned on the kitchen light. And I had tried this once before and researched it again, but orange oil, essential orange oil, was the magic. I could
Yeah.
put that in a spray bottle and spray within the wall, spray the carpet. And that took care of them. It took a few treatments,
Mhm.
but I even noticed it with other insects and pests in my flower garden,
Mhm.
as well as trying to keep cats out of my flower garden. I mean, I love
Right.
cats, but I wanted something safe that would kind of deter them from digging up my flower garden.
Right.
Um, and orange oil, again, was one of those things that I could spray more like on the walls, where I wasn't as concerned with the cat like licking the wall.
Right.
um,
Right.
but that seemed to really help both the insects and
Mm.
these crazy little flying ants. Um, so there's lots of things that they can do that we would never think about.
Right. There are a number of essential oils designed for pest control and also for the garden. So yeah, they can cover a myriad of areas.
Good to know. And that's all on your website, I'm sure. So I will have to look into those things as well. Because man, pest control products just they smell horrible. The smell sticks around. It's heavy. I'm sure it's causing damage to your lungs just even being around it.
Right.
Um, and so, yeah, learning those alternatives has been a big change for us. And we're continuing to kind of chip away at making changes.
Right.
Um,
I don't have anything specifically on my website for pest control, but if you want to contact me, I can get you some information
oh, that'd be
on.
great. Thank you. I'd really appreciate that.
You're
So, like I
welcome.
said, I will include information on where people can contact you in the show notes. And thank you so much for your time. This is now the third opportunity I've had to speak with you and have you present, and I really enjoy our time together. I've learned a lot. I've enjoyed learning as much as I have about essential oils from you.
Mhm.
Um, so, for other listeners, if you want to get together with Diane and have her come out and speak to a small group or even a large group, she's very well informed. Her products are wonderful, so I highly recommend them. So
Thank you.
thank you so much, Diane, for sharing your time and your knowledge. I greatly appreciate it. And for everybody else, if you enjoyed this interview, please make sure you subscribe to my YouTube channel, Finding Resilience with Leanne. Um, this podcast is available on YouTube, Spotify, and wherever you find your podcasts. And for more information on me, you can find me on my website or out on all the socials at Finding Resilience with Leanne or the Happiness on Tap podcast. Please make sure you subscribe to my email, sign up, and get Diane's wonderful free gift. And, embark on a path to self-discovery and empowerment and find a way to overcome life's challenges in a healthy, productive way. So thank you again, Diane. I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Leanne, for having me, and it's been my pleasure.
You have a wonderful afternoon, and I'm sure we will be talking to each other soon.
Very good.